We're torch firing fine silver metal clay in a dim room so that it's easier for you to see the color of the clay. I'm just going to twist this knob and push this button, and that's how this particular torch ignites. I'm going around slowly, giving my piece time to warm up so that the binder starts burning off. You can see that the tip of the very bright blue flame is a few inches away from my piece. That's the hottest part of the flame, and so I only am touching the bushy part. There is some fire and smoke. That tells us that the binder is burning out. Perfectly normal. It actually happens inside the kiln too. And now that it's stopped, I'm going to aim my flame on the piece and wait for it to come up to a specific orange color, and there it is. And now I'm going to start timing for 4 minutes. Sometimes when you are torch firing a flat piece, you can see the edges curl up. These are slightly curling up, and that's because there's a difference in shrinkage. I'm pulling my flame back because it was getting a little bit too hot. So you can see it kind of pulling up a little bit, and when the entire thing has reached the same amount of shrinkage, it will lay flat again. When I'm torch firing, I am keeping my eye on the piece. I'm keeping track of the color. That's all I really care about. Sometimes I'm pulling my flame back a little bit. Sometimes I'm pushing my flame in a little bit. But all I really care about is holding that orange color for between 4 and 7 minutes. You can see the white of the natural color of fine silver through that orange heat. So I kind of call it electric creamsicle, if anybody remembers creamsicles. You have to remember to keep the torch moving. You don't want to hold it still, or your piece will start melting right where the tip of that bright blue flame is aiming. So as you're moving the flame around, you're heating it up and cooling it down, and heating it up and cooling it down, and it's maintaining a temperature. There's no such thing as firing metal clay too long, but you can fire it too hot, and of course if you fire it too hot, it will melt. The longer you fire it, the more sintering and shrinking there will be, and the more sintering and shrinking there is, the harder your piece will end up being. Harder and stronger. So using a butane torch is a great way if you're just starting out. It's a great way to be able to fire your fine silver or small pieces of copper or bronze, which we're not really talking about. But you can see if you were getting ready to do a show and you needed 100 pairs of earrings, which of course is 200 pieces, you probably wouldn't want to torch fire them all. We have 2 minutes left. I'm going to torch fire this for 4 minutes. If it was bigger or thicker, I would want to torch fire for up to about 7 minutes. Remember that you can't fire a piece that's really big. You can't fire the north and then come back and fire the south. The entire piece has to maintain this orange color for the entire time you're torch firing, or it won't sinter properly. I have torch fired small pieces of cubic zirconia, small gemstones. I haven't torch fired anything larger than 2 or 3 millimeters. I don't know if anybody else has. So you can torch fire small CZs, but you wouldn't want to quench them after it was done, or you would shock the stones and they would crack and break. Quenching is just a term we use for putting a hot metal into water and it cools immediately. When you're done torch firing, remember that the torch head is going to be hot, so don't grab it with your hands. Okay, I'm going to turn this off now. And there's our piece.